Brad, can you just talk about Rajan's leadership down the stretch?
Yeah, it was really good. We were, you feel like you're really under control, the way that he was playing late. And, I thought he put a lot of pressure on their defense because they went under almost every pick and roll the whole day with him, and he made a bunch of shots behind it. And so you always felt like you were going to get a good look. That was a high percentage right now with the way he was shooting the ball today. And, that's one of those things that when you don't play for a year, that shot's probably a little bit rusty. But now that he's 7 or 8 games back, he's a very, very good shooter who has put in more time to be a good shooter. Better than his statistics in the past would say, and so I feel really good about him pulling up and making those shots.
Brad, how much of an uptick do you see just in general ball movement? I mean, looks, that sort of thing?
As a result of? Well, I think we execute a little crisper. I think that obviously the ball's in one person's hands a little bit longer, but that's because he's a, kind of your playmaker and leader and person who makes, can create for himself and others. But I do think the actions are good. The ball seems to have found the right guys a lot, especially today. And I think that's more so guys getting used to playing with one another. I thought the guy who I thought was outstanding right from the gate today was Bass. I thought you could see it in his eyes that he was playing at a high level. And I thought it was fitting those two guys made plays at the end to help win it on both ends of the floor.
Brad, you talked about just the comfort of knowing things were under control. You had, I guess, known at some point this was there would be a late game situation where you'd have Rondo like this. How nice was it? I guess were you waiting for this?
Well, we've had him a couple of times now, but I thought that this was the most comfortable he looked. I thought our spacing was much better than the last time we played Orlando, which is a positive because then you feel like you're making progress, because that was only a couple weeks ago. And I thought he did a lot of good things, but it does give you a sense of comfort going into those final few minutes that you've got a person directing for you. And I thought he made a great read on the one action that Sully hit the three, that there was going to be an opportunity to jam his man, pop him, and shoot it. That was on him. He really made a great play right there, and it kind of separated the game for us.
And also just your thoughts on he and Avery obviously played much together. Just how they felt they would win.
Yeah, I thought they played well. Now Orlando put us in a bind a little bit because it took our flexibility of matchups away from us with who they played. And when I say that, Jeff had to be on Harris. Avery had to be on a follow, and Rondo had to be on a Ladipo. And in other games we're able to mix and match a little bit more. But I thought all of the guys did a reasonable job on the guys they were guarding.
Brad,
Hi, Gary.
Hi. It's only the 30th time that Rondo and Bradley have started together. Although Bradley's been here 4 years. I mean, how important is it for the rest of the season to see how they get along and how they blend together? It seems like it's got to be a priority.
Huge priority for me. I think that those guys play. They seem to be on paper really good fits, right? But it's better to see them in person. And he made Rondo, for instance, made a couple of plays where he was pulling up and shooting off the ball screen. We went up by 3. He had a pick away for Avery. Avery came off the down, shot it in. We go up by 5. Their strengths fit each other well on both ends of the floor. And so hopefully that can be continue to be accentuated as we get further along into that. We add to those 30 games.
And there was one play out of a timeout, a Flalo. Avery was in his shirt. He hit a jumper in his face. But then Avery came back and kind of got over that and was able to get to the line and shoot a jumper. I mean, how has Avery evolved in not letting his defense affect his offense when things like that happen?
Well, if his coach wouldn't have gotten in the way on that play, he probably would have gotten a better look. But the draw wasn't great, but he got fouled and got to the line. I think he's clearly aggressive, clearly an aggressive-minded guy, which is good. And I thought Bayless can be even more aggressive for us. I thought he did a really good job of trying to be a point at times tonight and running the team. But that doesn't mean that he should pass up his looks. And he's balancing that a little bit. But with him and Avery both being able to come off those screens, come off those pick and rolls and shoot, those are good things for us moving forward.
Brad, this is your first look at the dynamic Rondo. What was that like, seeing that as a coach for the first time?
I've seen pretty darn close. He's just wearing the rust off a little bit. But yeah, I mean, he was good, and I was not surprised. Watching him play for so many years, I've probably caught all the really good games because that's when you're paying the most attention in the playoffs and everything else when you're far away from this. But he was obviously good tonight. It gives you a lot of pluses moving forward.
Coach, the last couple games, you questioned your team's effort and engagement. Did you think that tonight or today looked a little bit better?
Yeah, I didn't think that Wednesday as much. Certainly against the Knicks, we did not play well. And then a couple nights later, they did the same thing to the Cavs. So maybe it was more the Knicks than it was us. But I think we were pretty locked in on Wednesday with the exception of the early transition defense. And then we really guarded in the second half, and they made a play to beat us. Today we were better out of the gate, but we're still a 40 out of 48 minute team at best, and that's where we really got to get better. We've got to be, we've talked about maximizing our margin, and we've got to play 48 minutes of great possessions, and not hardly anybody does, but that's what we've got to strive for. And as a coach, you strive for perfect, knowing it's not attainable.
And your starters had 84 points of the 96. Was that just a great game from them or a poor game from the bench?
Well, the thing that I'm most excited about, we did turn it over too much in the second half. The thing I'm most excited about is we had a 50% shooting day because we've really struggled to shoot it recently. But I think part of that is Bayless getting back and healthy, getting going, Avery getting going. Now you've got more threats on the court to open up the floor for others. And then obviously Rondo making shots behind the screen.
Okay. Coach, talk about Brandon's game.
Yeah, I thought Brandon was huge tonight. We didn't defend great on a couple of possessions late, but his activity blocked shots. Rondo came up with a slap away, and Brandon ended up getting the loose ball. Brandon was just really locked in, and I actually said that to Jay Larinaga in about the first or second minute of the game. You could see he was locked in from the get-go, and that's what you need those guys to be for us to be successful. And I was happy for him because he played well.
Coach, you said last week that you kind of challenged Jared Sullinger to play older than he was. He scored, he had 24-17 the other day, but he took 25 shots. Tonight he was like 21-12 on just 15 shots. Can you just talk about how he kind of responded to that challenge, I guess?
You have to ask him. You coach every day. You meet with guys all the time. You meet with guys every day. So it's not that unusual of an occurrence, but it is true. And I think anytime, people use youth as a crutch to say it's okay to be inconsistent or whatever the case may be. I'm not saying he has been. I'm just saying in general. But this is a situation where youth should have great opportunity. And now they get a chance to separate themselves from other guys their age. And as a result, Jared ends up in the Rising Stars Challenge and the sophomore team. Kelly ends up on the rookie team. They've got great advantage. They've got a great opportunity to take advantage of. And hopefully a lot of our young guys continue to do that because, they're going to play.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks.
Thank you, folks.